Hello, it is Coach Carolyn. It's this week's edition of What Sparkly Outfit Is She Going to Wear Today, because she hasn't had an opportunity to wear them at any other time. No, I'm joking. It's my weekly edition of Live, Sweat, Sparkle. And I'm glad that you're here. It's geared towards the 40 plus year young woman. However, if you're younger than that, I really hope that you're joining in too, because there's going to be a lot of conversation over the coming weeks and months, and I hope years, that are going to hopefully shed some light on things that we both struggle with, that we perhaps have succeeded at conquering with age, and also things that maybe we had wished we'd learned when we were younger, or wish we knew more about, like that menopause word, things like that. I was going to talk about facing fears today, and I am going to be talking about that over the coming weeks, because I think I've got a lot to say on the topic. Today, however, I decided to switch it up because I can, and I wanted to talk about weight, whether it's weight loss, weight gain. It's just weight. It seems to be a topic that most of us either do or have struggled with, if I can sort of generalize, and it's a topic that comes up an awful lot in conversation, and it's a topic that is a big put down with women, in the sense that it's typically one of the first things that I notice that women put themselves down for. The jiggles here, the muffin there. So I thought I wanted to talk about this today, because there's a few lines of thought that I have on this whole thing. I used to be one of those health coaches that would promote love your body. And what I've come to realize is not everybody's going to be able to love their body. Not everyone's in that place. And it's hard to ask people to do that. So I realized it was rewording how it was I was offering the message. And it's more about embracing how you are at this given moment, at this very time. And instead of thinking about the number on the scale, because I want to remind you, my friends, the number on the scale doesn't have any idea of the essence of the person that you are. It's just, where are you with regards to gravity? That's it. So if we could try to somehow focus less on the scale, less on the numbers, and more on other things that are meaningful, then I think we're getting somewhere. And why I'm passionate about this topic, I always have been passionate about this topic, is because how we react, how we embrace this whole conversation is obviously being passed down to the children that are younger. Well, of course they're younger, they're children. But anyway, you get the idea of what it is that I'm trying to say. How we react, how we speak about ourselves, how we complain about ourselves. Even if we think nobody is there, we know there's ears that are listening and that they hear things that sometimes we don't think. So when we say to our children, love who you are, be okay with your body, you're fine the way you are, but then they hear us on the telephone with our girlfriend saying that we don't really like our jiggly hips and we have to go on to a diet, guess what they're going to be listening to and they're going to be hearing? If that's how mom feels, that must be how it is. So there's a whole other video that I will be doing on the language of love. And when I say the language of love, it's the language of body love. But that's for another day after facing fears. So a couple of lines of thought that I want to offer you for today. As I said, when we step on that scale, it tells us a number. It tells us how heavy we are. And that's it. It doesn't tell us how much of that is lean body mass, how much of that is muscle. It doesn't tell us how incredible you are, how sparkly you are. It doesn't say how kind you are. It doesn't say the things that you can do. If only we could create a scale. Oh, and I've just thought maybe this could be where I make my millions. But if only we could make something that we can stand on that actually tells us, excuse me while I adjust, how great we are. Where it could say something positive about you and you could go on your day. I remember a few years ago, I felt incredible. I woke up one day and I felt incredible. And I have to be completely honest here. For years, I have struggled with weight and it in my mind. It's only been sort of the last 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, where I have really overcome how I think about weight and how I think about the body. Because the first thought is that, very few people, what is the perfect body? Who said what the perfect body was? And very few people really have what is known as a perfect body. But again, I go back to the question, what is one? Anyway, I digress. I go back to the morning where I woke up and I felt great. And I was struggling at the time with my weight and how I felt about me, which is the bottom line. And go onto the scale because I'm feeling fantastic. And I'm like, I am going to see a number that I like. And I didn't. I saw a number completely different to the one that I expected. And it absolutely... I can't tell you the feeling that I had. I felt so demoralized is the word, I guess, that I had afterwards. I sat and thought about this for quite a while afterwards, and here's the thing that I thought. The person that woke up in the morning and went on and felt fabulous was the same person that 3 seconds later stepped off the scale and didn't feel good and felt really crappy now. That was the same person, and I was the same weight with both of them. And it was a huge game changer for me. If I woke up feeling so great, and the only difference was that I stood on something and it told me a number that I didn't like, I was still the same person. I still should have felt great. And that has been something that has stayed with me. It's sort of comparable to the image that I found years ago, and they showed a picture, a cartoon really, of a man that was 300 pounds and very, very large and overweight. And there was a picture of a man 300 pounds, same weight, but very lean and very strong. He was a bodybuilder. That just goes to show that so often we can't go on the number on the scale. We really need to go on how we're feeling inside. I want to offer this idea to you to think about. What is it that you have achieved? What is it that you can do? Who in your life have you affected in a positive way? What is it that your body really enables you to do day after day? It enables you to wake up and to breathe and to most likely see and hear. It enables you to call your friends or FaceTime your friends while we're going through COVID. It enables you to love the people around you. It enables you to cook dinners, or it enables you to eat dinners. It enables you to go for a lovely walk or sit and meditate. You get the idea. Our bodies allow us to do so much, and if we could focus more on what our bodies allow us to do and on the things that we achieve and that rock about us, because I know there's things about you that rock, somebody told me, then I think we're really getting somewhere. And as I said, we're also then putting the right message out to the younger generation. I saw a post recently and I loved it. The post said, where are you holding your weight? I've got that completely wrong. But the idea was the weight that is being held isn't on our body necessarily, because so often it's about what we're thinking up here. And if we can figure out the mind and go from there, then often what we feel with the weight around our body, or on our body rather, isn't going to be as important. Now, don't get me wrong. I am all for people being healthy. I'm all for people being strong as they can. I'm all for people trying to live their best life, to put healthy practices into place, and to be the absolute best they can be. Absolutely. But I want to just talk to the people that seem to really struggle with weight, with the number, and who feel low about themselves, and hopefully I can inspire you to switch how you're thinking. So it's about changing how we think about ourselves. It's about looking at what we can do rather than the number on the scale. It's about looking at the scales. Do you need to go on the scales? Do you go on them daily? Now, I know some people that go on the scales daily. I'm not a proponent of this, but I understand why they do. They can go on the scales and separate themselves from that number. And they go on that scale because it gives them their daily. Are they good? Do they need to tweak something? Where do they stand? It's a statistic to them, and they can completely separate themselves from that. And I get that. That's really good. I'm talking to the people that go on the scales on a regular basis, and it demoralizes you. It mortifies you. That number that you're looking for is never there. Those are the women that I want to speak to. Because if it's having that effect on you, what is the reason to do it? Maybe you step on the scale once, and this is actually what I tell a lot of my clients to do. Step on it once, because you always want to know where you're starting. What is that baseline? And once you've been on that scale, leave it for a while. Put your healthy habits into place. Be a bit more active. Look at what it is that you're eating, and try and put practices into place wherever you can to make yourself healthier. but don't feel you have to constantly go back to the scales. I probably weigh myself once every 4 months. And that is really just to see where I'm at as a baseline. It's, as you can tell, once every 4 months is not something where I'm looking at it and I'm wondering what I am and, and feeling bad about myself. So I've never felt freer, actually, than when I started weighing myself far less, because it's no longer on my mind all the time. So it's about thinking about us. It's about thinking about how you think about yourself, how you think about your body. Do you really need those scales? Do you need to go on them as regularly as possible? Could you put them somewhere out of sight, out of mind? We have actually put our scales in the bottom of the house in the basement. So if I did want to weigh myself, I actually have to go all the way downstairs now to weigh myself. Well, half the time it's like those chocolate covered almonds that are in the closet down there too. I will not go for them because I'm just too lazy to do that. So it's about putting them out of sight where you won't be prone to go and weigh too often. It's about sitting down and writing out the achievements that you've had. And don't get me wrong, this probably sounds kooky, but at the same time, if you're so focused on your weight and being in a place where you don't want to be, look at other things. Look at what your body enables you to do. Perhaps it's about getting real. If you really don't like where you are at, are you doing everything in your power to leave that space? Are you looking at what you eat? And are you trying to put healthy habits into place? Or are you being as active as you could possibly be? Sometimes I have to get very real with clients. I feel they're paying me. And in that case, they need my honesty. I'm not here to just take their money, say thank you very much, and not give them any help and a little push. And so sometimes if people have weight loss as their goal, and yet they come back week after week and nothing has changed with what they're doing, but they did actually have a night where they decided to, or a week where they decided to possibly not put the things into practice that they should be doing, I will say to them, is that getting you closer to your goal, or is it getting you farther away? You could use that as a mantra, never know how to say that word, for yourself. Is everything you're doing, is it taking you closer to where you want to be, or is it taking you farther away? So let's talk about weight and the middle-aged woman, because we do know that yes, we can tend to gain weight rather easily than when we did when we were younger. I made the point in a previous video that look at where you are now. Try not to focus on the days gone by when you were 20 and you were a certain weight and size. Try not to think about before you had children if you're a mother, because our bodies are so different at every single stage of life. Don't compare with what was, because you'll really keep yourself unhappy. And if you're one of those people that has a whole store worth of clothes in your closet because you keep all the sizes because you think you'll get into them, I say get rid of them. Get rid of the ones that are holding you back. What do you fit in now? What do you feel great in now? And use that. So focus on where you are right now and then move forward from here. What can you do? Do you have all of the healthy habits in place that are going to get you to where you want to be? And if so, great. But if you're being completely honest with yourself and you don't, A, call me, but B, in all honesty, think about what it is that you could do. Get very honest with you, because you're the only person that can change this, if that's what you were looking for. We tend to hold the weight around our waistline especially, and stress as we get older, well, actually, stress regardless, can also have an effect on the weight that settles around our waist. But sugar, when we overeat the sugar, where's it going to go? But a lot of the time it's going to go over around our waistline too. And of course, that's why we want to make sure as women that we have a smaller one, because if it is settling around there, that might mean that it's actually settling around the organs deep inside, which we don't want. So it's about being careful as well. At the end of the day, you are going to be sitting perhaps on a rocking chair. Think about yourself being 95 years old. You're on that rocking chair and you're just looking back at your life. Are you going to think back to the days that you were a certain weight? Are you going to remember that number? Are you going to be focused on that? Or is it going to be the memories of the really meaningful things that you did with people that you loved? Is it going to be the achievements that you succeeded at? I think we need to get real about that. Imagine yourself thinking and sitting rather in that rocking chair and looking back at your life. What are the meaningful things that you're going to be thinking about? It's not going to be the number on the scale. So what can you do to change how you think right now if you find that this is a big concern for you? Women, as we age, menopause happens, hormones happen, all of these things happen. It does make it tougher for us to lose weight and to tone up. Our metabolism does tend to slow down. Of course, I'm not going to generalize and say everyone, but for the most part, as we age, our metabolism slows down too, which means you have to rev it up. And how do you rev it up? But by eating the right things and by doing strength training. Working out in general, but strength training really does help. So, I hope this has inspired you to at least think about how you think about weight, about your body, and to understand that there's so much more. Your worth, your essence, is not based or determined by the number on that scale. What is it that you could do differently now that you've seen this video to help yourself rethink weight, rethink your body, rethink nutrition, rethink your mind, and to perhaps rethink how you use the scales if you do? So again, the 40-plus woman, let's get this right. Think about how active you are. Do you need to increase it? And I'm not saying go nuts, but do you need to add it into your life a little bit more? And if so, find something you love. Do you need to rethink your nutrition? Nutrition so often is the culprit. Are you looking at your sugar? If you need any help with that, please, please, please ask me, because I am more than happy to help, and this is an area that I really love to help my clients with. And think about your mindset and how you think about your body. That, at the end of the day, it's all up in our minds. That's really what is going to change everything. I really hope that you enjoyed this. I hope to see you again, even though I know I'm not seeing you, but you're seeing me. And please spread the word. I want to have conversation after conversation on this channel with all things women, and especially all things women 40 plus. So bring your friends, because I heard you have them. And I will see you next week when I actually am hoping to have a very special guest. Please subscribe, please share. And if you're on Instagram, I'm also at Coach Carolyn M. I hope to see you again. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and please live, sweat a little, and sparkle.